Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1829B, and today's date is March 31st, 2019, and the title of the episode is, When Do Birds Sing? Spring. Boom. Nobody walks away from this. Nobody. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about staying healthy as we grow older. Stem cells are your body's natural healing system. You get a cut on your finger one day and the next day it heals up. Well, how does that happen? Easy. It's your bodily stem cells at work. Sad part is by age 65, you've lost 90% of your adult stem cells. But now you may be able to boost stem cells levels naturally within 1 hour by 30% with a new plant-based capsule. Everyone's chemistry is different, but for many, this produces a variety of benefits to help reduce the effects of aging. This product comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Please visit their website at stemup.com. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Well, it looks like it's getting to be that time where birds sing, and we're starting to see certain birds, well, they're starting to sing now. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to start off with Biden. We know that Biden, he threw his hat into the ring for the 2020 election. He's been talking about this quite a bit, but it looks like he's running into some trouble right now because a former Nevada state assemblywoman accused Biden of creepy behavior in 2014. And she wants the former VP and possible 2020 Democratic presidential contender to acknowledge that it was wrong. Now, this individual is Lucy Flores, claimed in a Friday op-ed on the cut that Biden crept up behind her at a 2014 political event, grabbed her shoulders, inhaled her hair, and then planted a big slow kiss on the back of her head. She recounted the incident on CNN, State of the Union, with Jake Tapper, stating that amid the chaos and energy of the event, Biden very unexpectedly, out of nowhere, did this. And she was a little creeped out about this. Now, Biden responded to the allegations at 3 a.m. on Sunday through Communications Director Bill Russo, saying in a statement, "In my many years on the campaign trail in public life, I have offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort, and not once, never did I believe I acted inappropriately." That's strange, because if you look at some of the pictures of Joe Biden, and this is why he gets his name, Creepy Biden, you see that he's caressing children, holding their faces, holding them inappropriately, touching individuals in a weird and strange way. And this is why people have given him the name Creepy Biden. But I want to go back to post 2219. And Q, this is back September 19th, 2018. Q said the following: "Sexual misconduct is the public shelter to accept resignation. Watch those announcing 2020 presidential running. You cannot attack a political opponent. None are protected. None are safe." These individuals, they think they're protected by running. They are not. None are protected. And you're going to see a lot of these stories start to leak out just out of nowhere, and these people are going to have to defend themselves, and it's going to be broadcasted all over the place, and they're going to have trouble, and we'll have to see how this plays out for many of these individuals. We see Jussie Smollett. Last we heard, the NAACP, they were going to give him an image award, and it looks like he didn't win. Actually, he didn't even attend the award ceremony on Friday. Now, what's very interesting about this whole case is that we have the Chicago Police Department. They sent Jussie Smollett a bill for $130,000, demanding payment for his false statements. They're saying we took a lot of energy, we investigated, and this is just unbelievable. And, people worked overtime, and we wasted a lot of money because the prosecutor, Kim Foxx, decided to drop all the charges, and she pretended that she recused herself. Now, what's interesting about all of this is that the Illinois prosecutors group condemned Kim Foxx and listed her many dishonest and questionable actions this week. The Illinois Prosecutors Bar Association released a letter on Friday condemning State Attorney Kim Foxx for a highly irregular and dishonest maneuver to dismiss all charges against hate hoaxer Jussie Smollett. This is what they wrote. This is part of it, at least. The Illinois Prosecutors Bar Association serves as the voice for nearly 1,000 frontline prosecutors across the state who work tirelessly towards the pursuit of justice. The events of the past few days regarding the Cook County State's attorney handling of the Jussie Smollett case is not condoned by the IPBA, nor is it a representative of the honest, ethical work prosecutors provide to the citizens of the state of Illinois on a daily basis. The manner in which this case was dismissed was abnormal and unfamiliar to those who practice law in criminal courthouses across the state. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, judges alike do not recognize the arrangement Mr. Smollett received. Even more problematic, the state attorney and her representatives have fundamentally misled the public on law and circumstances surrounding the dismissal. The public has the right to know the truth, and we set out to do that here. When an elected state attorney recuses herself from prosecution, Illinois law provides that the court shall appoint a special prosecutor. See 55 ILCS 539008A15. Typically, the special prosecutor is a neighboring state attorney, the attorney general, or the state appellate prosecutor. Here, the state attorneys kept the case within her office and thus never actually recused herself as a matter of law. Additionally, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office falsely informed the public that the uncontested sealing of the criminal court case was mandatory under Illinois law. This statement is not accurate. To the extent that the case was even eligible for an immediate seal, that action was discretionary, not mandatory, and not only upon the proper filing of petition to seal, see 20 ILCS 2630 5.2, enforcement agents of legally required notice and the legal opportunity to object to the sealing of the file. The state attorneys not only declined to fight the sealing of the case in court, but then provided false information to the public regarding it. The appearance of impropriety here is compounded by the fact that this case was not on the regular scheduled court call. The public had no reasonable notice or opportunity to view these proceedings, and the dismissal was done abruptly at what has been called an emergency hearing. To date, the nature of the purported emergency has not been publicly disclosed. The sealing of a court case immediately following a hearing where there was no reasonable notice or opportunity for the public to attend is a matter of grave public concern and undermines the very foundation of our public court system. Again, the whole purpose of this entire thing was to expose how these people play. And now it is out there, and people are questioning this, saying this is not right. And by the way, there's a federal investigation going on behind the scenes. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham, he's out there, and he is calling on all the officials who signed the Carter Page FISA warrant to testify. Again, all of the investigations have moved to the Senate. The Senate is the key. So who does he want? Well, he wants former FBI Director James Comey, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, former Deputy Director of the FBI Andrew McCabe, and former Attorney General Sally Yates were all required to sign off on the FISC warrant application before it was reviewed and ultimately approved. He wants these individuals to testify. Now, Clapper was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and it looks like Clapper right now seems to be putting the blame on Obama for spying on Trump during the 2016 presidential election. Now, I believe what Clapper's doing, he's trying to save himself. And he's trying to make it seem like, well, this is what I always told everyone. This is what I meant. And this is wrong. And again, we need to go back to post 2261, where this was done in September 21st, 2018. Q says, panic in D.C. FISA equals start. FISA brings down the house. When do birds sing? In the spring. Why in the spring? Because this is when they're going to release the D-Class, the OIG report, and you're going to hear these individuals start to sing. They're going to be pointing the finger at each other, saying, no, you're to blame. No, you're to blame. and the plan is working perfectly. So now that we have the summary of the Mueller report, we're waiting on the full report. That's going to be coming out very soon. I believe this is scheduled to come out in the month of April, which is spring. And we know that the mainstream media, during these 2 years, they've been reporting on how Trump was involved in Russian collusion, how he was obstructing justice, and they were pushing out story after story, and how Mueller was going to indict his children and everything else. And it all turned out to be fake, phony, and false. And now the mainstream media, they're saying that, no, we didn't do anything wrong. We believe and we did a great job reporting. We told the truth, which is furthest from the truth. But this is what liars do. If they lie, they need other lies to cover those lies. They never tell the truth. And Trump tweeted out the following. So funny that New York Times and the Washington Post got a Pulitzer Prize for their coverage, 100% negative and fake, of collusion with Russia. And there was no collusion. So they were either duped or corrupt. In any event, their prizes should be taken away by the committee. I agree with him. Paul Sperry tweeted out the following, and we know that Trump was in Grand Rapids, Michigan the other night, and he said the following. Trump's best lines of night. The Russia hoax proves more than ever that we need to finish exactly what we came here to do, drain the swamp. Democrats have to now decide whether they will continue defrauding the public with ridiculous bullshit. And we're going to see the Mueller report come very soon. This is going to most likely be the full report, complete transparency. Yes, the mainstream media will be making a very, very big deal about this, but then the fun starts. This is when they start to panic, and panic like they've never panicked before. This is when the birds start to sing, and this is when other individuals within the deep state, the central bank, this is when they might push another event. Now, what's very interesting, Trump is changing a lot of the circuit courts. The Ninth Circuit Court right now, Trump is getting ready to flip. Now, he didn't use the so-called blue slip or approval from a judicial nominees this time around. He went ahead and he brought in two individuals, two nominees, Ken Lee and Dan Collins. And they're going to be considered next week to sit on the left-leaning Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Trump administration has successfully nominated several conservative judges to the Ninth Circuit already, pushing ahead to transform this court. Now, Feinstein, Senator Kamala Harris, and the rest, they're very pissed off about this because for years we've been using this method and all of a sudden we've changed it. Well, guess what? We can always change things. This is not like law written in stone that you have to do it this way. Just because something was done like this to manipulate who sits in the court doesn't mean we need to continually do it. And why do you think Trump is moving so quickly to flip these courts? Do you think because they're going to start unsealing the sealed indictments? Do you think he needs all the judges in place? Not the corrupt judges, the judges that are going to actually follow the rule of law? Absolutely. Now, we know we still have this national emergency down at the border. There's a huge caravan heading up. It's about 20,000 individuals, or it's going to be 20,000 individuals once the whole thing gets rolling here. And they're calling it the mother of all caravans. And Trump right now is saying, listen, we need certain countries like Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. We need you to do something to stop this. And if you can't, guess what we're going to do? We're going to cancel your funding. Now, back in 2017, the United States government provided $555 million in taxpayer-funded foreign aid to Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. And it looks like they're going to be stopping all of this if they don't go ahead and take control of what is going on here. Why do you think they were receiving this funding? This was done so they would send the people up. Trump is now reversing it. Now, out in Venezuela, we know the deep state, the neocons, they are pushing their agenda. And right on schedule, Trump said on Friday that he'll probably talk to Putin and Xi Jinping about the crisis in Venezuela. He said, I'll be talking to a lot of people, perhaps Putin, perhaps Xi, about Venezuela. Now, I do believe Trump has been letting the deep state, the neocons, do what they do best. And I do believe that there's another plan going on behind the scenes to shut them out, to block them out. What has Russia already done? They brought some troops into Venezuela. They started setting up the S-300 missile system, and it will make it impossible for the deep state and the central bank, the neocons, to stage something where they're calling for an invasion. Now, we know that's what they like to do. They like to create an event so the U.S. goes in and invades Venezuela. They've been talking about this for a very long time. Actually, they've been talking about this before Trump came into office. And now we see Trump and the Patriots, they are letting them play this all out, while in the background, this has been all planned. And the plan is to block them all out and reestablish negotiations with Venezuela, just like with Syria, and shut down these individuals trying to push regime change. Now, a couple reports ago, we talked about this break-in in Madrid, and this was a North Korean embassy, where all of a sudden, individuals broke into the embassy and nobody knew what was going on. Now, North Korea wants an investigation into the raid. They're saying this is a grave terrorist attack, and they want to know why this happened. Now, what did they do there? They're saying that they stole hard drives, paperwork, communication gear, and other material. Now, again, what was in there? Was this the deep state material that was in this embassy and maybe it implicated certain individuals? Maybe, maybe not. We'll soon find out. Let's get into some of Q's posts here. This is post 3304, and this is a Fox News link that Q gives us, and it says MSNBC, NBC News, top political editor accused of trying to intimidate reporter on behalf of the DNC. Let me read a little part of this here. A reporter is accusing the managing editor of NBC News and MSNBC political coverage of trying to intimidate him into spiking a story about the Democratic National Committee in a chilling phone conversation that he says had her acting as a political operative and not a fellow journalist. Yashar Ali, a high-profile freelance journalist whose work has appeared in the Huffington Post and New York Magazine, said he was taken aback by his conversation with Daphne Linzer, who has held the key NBC position since October 2015, that he posted his synopsis of it in a series of tweets Friday. Linzer, he said, was trying to block him from publishing the dates of the 2020 Democratic Party primary debates. A move all suspects was made to benefit the DNC, not her employers. Yesterday, he said, I received a call from Daphne Linzer, who serves as a managing editor of NBC MSNBC Politics. Daphne's conduct during the call was highly inappropriate and unethical. So what was the purpose of her call? She called me to bully me on behalf of the DNC. That was his first tweet. She asked if I could hold the story, and I said I couldn't. She was agitated. Why not? I said, I'm not going to lose a scoop. Then she got angrier and said, why not? It's not a big deal. Let them make a few phone calls. He then wrote, I realized that Linzer, the head of all political coverage for NBC News and MSNBC, wasn't calling to advocate for her network. She was calling to advocate for the DNC. She wanted me to wait so they could call state party leaders. I couldn't believe what she was saying. Again, it was fine for me to print the story an hour later. Beat her own network by 3 hours. She just wanted me to let the DNC inform state party leaders. Why the hell did she care? Now, Q also gives us a link to WikiLeaks, and this was the email going back and forth. And down below it says Daphne Linzer in brackets in bold. It looks like she's in the kill brackets right now. It says fake news equals propaganda arm of the D party. Q. Let's move on to post 3305. Q gives us a picture of an office, and there's this little puppet, orange puppet with a smiley face. It's Amazon, and basically this is Amazon who's going to purchase Ring. And this is a doorbell maker where you put this outside. There's a camera, you can listen in, and you can see who's outside. So Amazon has reached an agreement to acquire Ring. And this is the maker of the video cameras, doorbells, and other smart home technologies. Q says, Ring app install allows to access to device? Yes. Location services on? Yes. Data streams accessible? Of course they are. So out of Forbes, there's an article that says, report claims Ring employees had unfettered access to security camera footage. It says Ring has come under fire from a damning report which claims that video feeds were made accessible to employees who had no right nor any need for access. The Intercept quotes sources alarmed by Ring's dismal privacy practices and states that Ring has a history of lax, sloppy oversight when it comes to deciding who has access to some of the most precious, intimate data belonging to any person. The big issue of the report revolved around 2016 and Ring's Ukraine-based research and development team. Oh, there's that Ukraine name again. Who it is reported and had unfettered access to a folder on Amazon's S3 cloud storage service that contained every video created by every Ring camera around the world. It stated that these files were in an unencrypted state on the server, as Ring was concerned that encrypting files may make the company less valuable should it be taken over. Further to that, it is claimed that the U.S. certain Ring executives and engineers also had access to unfiltered round-the-clock live feeds from some customers' cameras, regardless of whether they needed access to this extremely sensitive data to do their jobs. So Amazon is purchasing or has purchased this Ring company. Is Amazon using this to spy on you 24/7? Yes, they are. That's the whole purpose. Amazon, CIA. Let's move on to post 3306. So Q gives us an anon. Now, an anon is responding to a new post on 8chan about attacks increasing and how to spot them. And it says, attention press, mainstream media. When you see something that's outrageous before latching onto it, you must first understand this is open to anyone. Posts are made to try and attribute the most outlandish and unrelated things to our work, intended to support the narrative that we are loons and discourage others from joining us. Use this tool to help spot the deception. And it gives you Q research, and type the exact text of a given subject and you will see posted thousands of times. We aren't idiots and don't repeat a topic 24/7. They don't contribute to any active discussion regardless of the gravity of the news. They also have much higher post counts, usually over 15. This is viewed as a disrespectful to other anons, as there are limits on each thread to the number of replies. Thus, these ruses are easy to spot. The most common are hateful toward a given group, or what we call slides, where it is intended to distract from major news. These are entirely planted, and users are paid to do so. This board is not much different from any comment section on site, and yes, they get paid to shape opinion there too. The notion we can prevent something like this when anyone can post anonymously is a huge leap. We are busy with current events and research and filter them or ignore it. This isn't one of your safe spaces, so it can't discern the differences. You shouldn't be here. Thank you for playing. Come again. Together we are strong, divided we are weak. Where we go one, we go all. The Anna said, yes, agree. See the post made here in the context of all Q drops made. This makes shills visible. So let me go down to what Q says. Q says, attacks increasing? Yes, they are. Context of drops mislabeled and used? Yes. Select organization journalists dropping controversial info as attempt to label as whole. Screen shooting. then writing articles on drops they themselves wrote. So they're creating this information and then they're writing articles about it. Let me continue. Highlight of corrupt PAC equals deflect by PAC equals point to former member as method to shield. So in a previous post, this was post 3088, Q was talking about a corrupt super PAC, and this was MAGA Coalition and others. Individuals were not focused on. What did the PAC do to counter all of this? Well, they brought up a former celebrity spokesperson, and they deflected all this to show that they are somehow legitimate because they have a celebrity spokesperson, which is absolutely ridiculous. Q says, we are being bombarded for a reason. Look for keywords to be repeated by many. Controlled and coordinated rollout. Fake news in full panic. Less than 10. Now, an Annan responded to the less than 10, and the Annan said he meant less than 10 can confirm Q. 3 on non are non-military, which means there are less than 10 people who know about Q, who really know the identity of Q. And 3 of them are non-military. So no matter what you see out there, if they're saying that they know Q or anything like that, impossible. Post 3307 gives us everything from 3306 and says, when they can't attack the information provided, they attack the messenger. So if you notice how the attacks are handled, they can't attack the truth, so they turn towards the messenger. And the messenger is Q and the people following Q, that they're crazy because they can't attack the facts, the truth. Remember, they can only attack propaganda. The truth, the facts, they stand tall. They can't knock those down, but they can talk about the people in the group. They can speak about certain individual and make it seem like they're absolutely crazy. Define deflection, the act or state of deflecting or the state of being deflected. Logical thinking, shill count high. And there are a lot of shills coming on the boards to confuse everyone. And they're commenting not just on the 8chan boards, but they're commenting on Twitter, on YouTube, and everywhere else. Post 3308. Q says disregard any spelling errors. On the move. Q. Post 3309. Q says, why did we highlight the rally last night by showcasing volume of support? Well, Q posted many patriots on the board, showed many flags, showed many individuals with Q shirts, showed many individuals with MAGA hats, to show how many people support the president and support Q. Define bait, something used to lure in your prey. How many fake news Twitter journalists are tweeting about Q today? Rally attendance last night, huge. So we have the fake news Twitter journalists, and they're going crazy over the individuals wearing Q shirts, people showing up, and they started to write about this. And they said massive QAnon presence at Trump's recent rally in Michigan. QAnon conspiracy theorists joined Trump in Grand Michigan. We had Ben Collins from NBC says, I've been covering QAnon for a year, and the amount of pro-Q people in this video from yesterday's Trump rally line in Grand Rapids is absolutely shocking. This is just a portion of it. And they're continually saying that these individuals who are following Q, they're crazy, and they're also showing up at the Trump rallies because that's their whole purpose. They're trying to make people seem crazy. Q says these people are stupid. Q. Post 3310. Q says threat to controlled narrative. Other than POTUS, can you name a group more attacked than Q by the fake news media? Multiple tactics deployed, including framing for crimes. Think bridge, mob boss, etc. Desperation. Reconcile using logic. Think for yourself. Dividers will fail. Q. They're pushing out all the stops right now because they realize that Q is giving truth. You can't attack facts. You cannot attack truth. You need to go after the people that are following Q and make them seem like they're crazy. This is why they've been staging all these things with the man, the mob boss holding up Q, making it seem like this is a Q conspiracy theorist, that they believe that, people are drinking blood and all this other stuff. They're doing this on purpose to make the Q following and the people following Q and Trump seem absolutely nuts, because they can't go after the truth. They can't go after the facts, because if they try to do that, they'll lose, and they know it. But guess what? No one's listening to them anymore. They don't understand. The movement is too powerful. And once the truth, when the D-class, the FISA, it all comes out, they're done for. Yes, they will still try to do things. They'll have an event. They'll try to push their narrative. But if you notice, each piece that comes out, they're losing their grip a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more. They're losing their credibility. And people are starting to notice. People are starting to question, and they're starting to defend themselves. Look, they're not the offensive anymore. Now they're defending. Think about what they're defending. They're out there saying, well, we believe everything we reported on Mueller is absolutely right, and we're not going back on it. They're digging their hole deeper and deeper, and now they're defending it. The Patriots are on offense. They're on defense now. The table has turned, and they're going to lose. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.